So there's a secret tax that we all pay, and it's called currency debasement. It's not hidden, it's very much in plain sight. It's a secret in the fact that we don't get told it, by the powers that be. But the reality is, if you're noticing prices of things going up every single year, even a couple of months, you'll notice things going up in price, particularly over the last few years. And the reason for that is that they're diluting the currency supply, meaning they're putting more of the currency into circulation, which dilutes the current supply that we have, right? So if there's more pounds or dollars needing to find the same amount of goods and services, those goods and services will increase in price. And that doesn't mean that the value goes up, because it doesn't, but the price will inevitably go up. And your wages, your income, generally speaking, for the average person, doesn't go up to the degree that currency debasement debases the currency, right? So what has to be considered is that this is a quality of fiat currency. It's not some conspiratorial thing that is a group of people trying to draw money out of people necessarily. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but necessarily. It's a quality of fiat currency itself. It's happened throughout all of time. So back in the Roman days, they had silver coins, and to debase that currency, they'd start mixing base metals, so it'd be like copper and things like that. They'd debase those things into the coins to make them worth less, even though they were still paying for goods and services with those coins. Now, because we're in the digital era, we don't need to debase currency in that way. We tend to just print more of it, which isn't even printing anymore, it's digits on a screen. And let's say there's, I don't know, 1 trillion in circulation, and then next year there's 1.1 trillion in circulation. That amount of currency then has to fit the same amount of goods and services if that doesn't increase. So then the prices increase. Now, the reason house prices go up is for this very reason. The reason gold and silver and hard assets, as it's known, real estate, go up is because of this reason. Somebody commented on a post the other day and said that the average rate of inflation is 3% or something. I said, yeah, okay, whatever, but let's look at real hard world assets. And I got, since 1970 or 1972, it was that house prices had increased in price by just over 10% per annum compounded since 1970 to 2024. Now that is a far more efficient way to look at the rate of currency debasement than official government figures, because they can be manipulated to make things seem better or worse than what they really are. And then the gentleman who commented come back and said, well, that's just one asset. So then I did gold and it worked out just over 10% again. So since 1970 to 2024, 50 odd years, there had been just over 10% increase in price, not value, price, every single year, compounded over time. It worked out like 6,000% if I remember correctly. Now, people should know this, right, this information, and there's no short supply of it. It's everywhere. So how do you in your life, how do you limit that issue that we've got with fiat currency? How do you go about mitigating your risk? Because that, again, that's a quality of the very currency that we use. So I can speak for what I do. I get out of currency and I put it into real world assets. I've got precious metals, gold, silver, and I hold gold and mining stocks, uranium mining stocks. I hold the precious metals themselves, gold and silver themselves, in a safety box at the bank. That's a risk in of itself because it's third party, but that's at the moment the safest I can sort of get it. I hold a lot of real estate in different various entities, different companies, and in my personal name. I own now Bitcoin, which is another conversation probably beyond the scope of this specific video, but I'd like to do a full video on Bitcoin because it gets a lot of flack off my property guys. But in my opinion, Bitcoin is the best money that we've now got available to us, and that can be discussed and argued against, and everything that is new and everything that is radical at the time is always seen as some sort of as some sort of scam, or you know, it's not going to work, it's going to collapse and all this. Everything that's radical always does that until it becomes self-evident. And I think that Bitcoin in the near future will be seen as self-evident. As I sit here now, you've got ETFs, you've got BlackRock and Vanguard and all these huge players with very questionable ethics buying into Bitcoin and holding it on their balance sheet. You've got MicroStrategy buying billions of dollars worth, getting out of currency and holding what I perceive to be real money on their balance sheet. So have a look at Bitcoin. There's no financial advice here whatsoever. I'm simply making people aware of the qualities of fiat currency and what you need to be doing to protect your wealth and your future generations, if I'm being completely honest. I think we're in maybe the last generation of what we perceive to be currency and what we've been using, the dollar, the pound, the euro, wherever you are in the world. It doesn't really matter. Obviously different countries have different currencies and whatnot, but essentially fiat currency always ends up at zero in relation to real world assets. If you look at Bitcoin and compared to real estate, and I'm a big real estate guy, but I can't, you know, the statistics speak for themselves. When I first bought Bitcoin back in 2016, I think I bought my first one, the average house price would have been circa, I don't know, 240, 250 maybe without looking. And I bought my first Bitcoin at around $3,000, something like that. So you could see how many Bitcoin I had to get, maybe, I don't know, 75, 80 Bitcoin to buy one house back then. Now it's at $97,000 there or thereabouts as I'm speaking today. And the average house price is around, what, 300,000. So now I only need about 3.2 Bitcoin to buy the house. So it's actually repricing real estate. It's repricing everything, gold, silver, it's repriced. Fiat currency, it's absolutely collapsed in relation to Bitcoin. And these are the things that we need to be looking at as just an average person. If you're not some big technology guru and all this stuff, which I'm certainly not, I'm just an average guy who's studied a lot, learnt a lot of about money and the philosophy behind it and everything, and history and where we seem to be going. The quicker you get out of fiat currency into real hard world assets, the more wealth you're going to create for your future generations. And that's what I suppose this video is all about, and what I've tried to get the message across. As I said, I'm a big property guy because I see that as stored time and energy in the real world, and then I can rent that out, and the rent is essentially other people's time and energy that's being paid to me to live in my stored energy. And then you have to figure out to you, the more you study, the more you realise that money is actually time and energy in a fixed, it should be in a fixed supply, which is what Bitcoin is. We've used gold and silver over time, but you can mine more gold and silver and that can be manipulated. Bitcoin can't be manipulated in that sense, it's fixed. That's why I like it more than gold and silver. But money itself is stored time and energy, and if I'm going to pay somebody, I used my stored time and energy and pay somebody with that in return for a good or a service. And that's how we should start seeing things, rather than wasting money or currency, wasting currency on stupid stuff. Think of it as your hard-earned stored energy that you're now giving away and receiving something in return. Now with currency debasement, what's happening is that they're taking the future in the form of debt and they're going, right, we're going to charge you, I don't know, like a mortgage, 6% on this debt. So they're lending you money and stealing your future. That's how you see it, right? But if you buy real world assets with this debt that pays for itself, with other people pay that debt for you, aka property investing, they pay that debt for you, your future is being paid for by other people. And when you start seeing money in this way, your whole worldview changes. As I've said before, it's more of a mental and spiritual developmental thing than it is the material world. And that's something else to consider, in my opinion, is do more spirituality work. And this type of thing seems to be revealed to you. Information gets revealed to you the more self-development work you do. Real self-development, not the fake happy clappy stuff. Yeah, I'm going to leave you on that. Currency debasement, research it, get into it. The Creatures from Jekyll Island, if you haven't read that, I highly recommend reading that. And other money books as well, The History of Money. There's a lot on YouTube you can find now. Look into Mike Maloney. That's worth a look. The 7 Stages of Money. Check it out.